Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering one of the most dramatic events in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine conflict, an overnight strike on the Crimea Bridge that has left Russia stunned and shaken. This attack wasn't just about damaging infrastructure. It was a clear message that Ukraine's precision capabilities are improving and that key Russian positions are no longer untouchable. The strike occurred in the early hours before sunrise, when traffic across the bridge was minimal. Residents in nearby towns reported hearing a deafening blast that shook the ground and rattled windows for miles. Cars and trucks that were traveling across the bridge were suddenly stopped in their tracks, while some drivers took cover as flames erupted along the roadway. Videos captured by locals showed towering fireballs and plumes of dark smoke rising into the sky, while pieces of debris fell into the Kerch straight below. Emergency services rushed to the scene, but the intensity of the fire forced them to keep a safe distance until the heat subsided. The chaos made it difficult to assess the full scale of the damage immediately, but satellite imagery and preliminary reports quickly confirmed that sections of the bridge had collapsed. Broken metal and concrete dangled over the water, and the railway line beside the roadway was severely damaged in multiple areas. Engineers suggested that repairs could take weeks, if not months, depending on the structural damage. This strike was clearly not random. Analysts believe it was carefully timed to occur during low traffic hours to maximize impact while minimizing civilian casualties. The precision suggests the use of long-range drones or guided missiles, striking the bridge in multiple locations simultaneously. Ukraine has reportedly been improving its drone technology and intelligence, gathering capabilities, allowing them to reach key targets deep inside Russian-controlled territory. For Russia, the bridge is more than a logistical connection. It is a symbol of authority and control over Crimea. Every successful attack on it undermines that symbolism and creates a psychological effect that ripples through Russian leadership and the local population. Russian state media attempted to downplay the incident, calling it minor and emphasizing that reconstruction would be quick. However, the footage circulating online told a far more dramatic story, showing a scene of chaos, fire, and structural instability. Reports from inside the Kremlin suggest that the attack triggered immediate emergency meetings. President Putin was reportedly briefed in real time, expressing frustration and concern over how such a critical piece of infrastructure could once again be targeted. Officials scrambled to reassure the public and military personnel that defensive measures would be increased. But the strike clearly exposed vulnerabilities. Strategically, the bridge plays a critical role in supplying Russian forces operating in southern Ukraine. It allows for the movement of troops, vehicles, and military supplies into Crimea and beyond. With sections of the bridge damaged, Russian supply lines are disrupted, forcing them to reroute through alternative pathways that are slower and more vulnerable to additional attacks. Analysts suggest this could have significant implications for Russian operations in regions such as Kherson and Zaporizhzhia, where logistical efficiency is key to sustaining military activity. The global reaction has been swift. Western nations have largely expressed support for Ukraine's right to strike military targets used for occupation purposes, emphasizing that infrastructure such as the Crimea Bridge has direct military significance. International media described the strike as a precise and powerful demonstration of Ukraine's growing capabilities, highlighting their ability to hit strategic targets with accuracy. Some nations, however, warned against escalation, urging all sides to exercise caution to prevent further destruction. Social media played a key role in spreading information and footage of the strike. Witnesses uploaded videos showing fire engulfing parts of the bridge, vehicles stranded on the road, and emergency crews working to contain the damage. Analysts noted that the strike appeared to target structural support areas rather than just the roadway itself, increasing the overall impact and making repairs more complicated. The speed at which Russian authorities cordoned off the area suggested they were aware of the severity and potential embarrassment caused by such a highly visible strike. From a tactical perspective, the strike exemplifies modern asymmetric warfare. Ukraine has chosen to avoid direct confrontation with Russian forces in heavily fortified positions. Instead, it focuses on high-altitude targets that disrupt logistics, command, and morale. By striking critical infrastructure, Ukraine forces Russia into a reactive position, stretching their resources and compelling them to focus on defense rather than offense. This operation also carries psychological consequences. Repeated strikes on key structures such as the Crimea Bridge undermine the perception of Russian control in Crimea. Local residents are confronted with the reality that the bridge, once considered secure, is vulnerable. This uncertainty can affect morale, reduce confidence in Russian protection measures, and create a sense of instability among both civilians and military personnel stationed in the region. The immediate aftermath of the strike showed large sections of the bridge destroyed, smoke rising in massive columns, and emergency personnel attempting to stabilize what remained. Traffic was immediately halted, leading to long delays for vehicles on either side of the bridge. Ferry operations were restored only partially, and movement across the strait became slower and more complicated. Analysts expect that full repairs could take a considerable amount of time, and repeated attacks could eventually render the bridge less reliable for military logistics. Ukraine's capability to carry out this strike highlights the increasing importance of precision weaponry in modern conflicts. Instead of traditional frontal assaults, which carry high risks and casualties, Ukraine is increasingly relying on drones, long-range missiles, and intelligence-driven operations. These tools allow smaller forces to achieve strategic objectives without exposing themselves to direct combat. The strike on the Crimea Bridge is a textbook example of how technology can level the playing field in conflicts involving asymmetric forces. For Russia, the attack is a wake-up call. Additional security and monitoring will be required to protect high-altitude assets like the bridge, diverting resources from other operational areas. Every defensive measure taken costs time, manpower, and equipment, all of which are finite. This creates strategic strain and could influence Russia's ability to respond effectively in other regions of Ukraine. Political consequences within Russia are also significant. Repeated strikes on such a visible symbol of authority undermine the narrative of stability and control that the government promotes. Critics within the country have already questioned the ability of the administration to secure critical infrastructure. Some voices are calling for harsher retaliation, while others highlight the growing challenges that repeated attacks like this present for Russia's military and political planning. For Ukraine, the strike serves as both a tactical and symbolic victory. It boosts morale among the population and military forces, demonstrating that they can strike deep into enemy territory and disrupt key operations. Social media and official channels celebrated the precision and effectiveness of the attack, showing that even smaller forces can have a significant impact against a larger adversary through careful planning and advanced technology. As the day progressed, more detailed images revealed the full extent of the damage. Cracked and collapsed sections of the roadway, twisted metal beams and heat. Damaged railway lines told a story of a strike designed to maximize disruption. Emergency teams continued to work on containment and stabilization, but the images clearly showed that this was no minor incident. Experts predict that this strike could influence future operations. Russia may need to invest more heavily in protective measures for key infrastructure, potentially reducing its operational flexibility elsewhere. Meanwhile, Ukraine's continued emphasis on strategic strikes indicates a shift in the conflict toward targeting logistics, communication, and command infrastructure rather than direct confrontation alone. The long-term impact of repeated attacks on the bridge could extend beyond military logistics. The Crimea Bridge also serves civilian and economic purposes, and its repeated damage disrupts transport, trade, and daily life in the region. These disruptions, combined with the psychological impact of the strikes, amplify the pressure on Russian authorities to respond and adapt to evolving threats. Strategically, the strike demonstrates a broader lesson in modern warfare. Precision and technology can be force multipliers. Smaller nations or forces with fewer resources can leverage drones, guided missiles, and intelligence to challenge larger powers effectively. By focusing on critical infrastructure, Ukraine maximizes the impact of each operation and forces the opponent into a defensive and reactive position. As the world watches, it is clear that the Crimea Bridge, once a symbol of unshakable Russian control, is now a target that underscores vulnerability. Every strike chips away at the perception of strength and sends a powerful message that key assets are not invulnerable. Ukraine's ability to strike with precision not only disrupts military operations, but also affects morale, strategic planning, and political narratives inside Russia. Looking forward, analysts expect that these kinds of operations will continue. Ukraine has proven capable of reaching high-value targets, and Russia will need to adapt to a conflict where precision attacks define the battlefield. The evolving nature of warfare, where technology, intelligence, and strategy play as much of a role as manpower, is evident in this strike. For viewers, the strike highlights the changing dynamics of modern conflict and the importance of infrastructure as a strategic target. It is a reminder that in contemporary warfare, logistical routes, supply chains, and symbolic structures are as critical as frontline positions. Attacks like this have consequences far beyond the immediate damage, influencing military capability, political perception, and international response. In conclusion, the overnight strike on the Crimea Bridge represents a significant escalation. It is a precise strategic operation that has caused both material and psychological damage. Putin and Russian leadership are now forced to reconsider security measures, logistics planning, and public perception, while Ukraine gains both tactical advantages and a symbolic victory. The consequences of this strike will unfold in the coming days and weeks, shaping the future of the conflict. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more updates on this story, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for detailed analysis of ongoing global events. We'll keep bringing you the latest developments as the situation unfolds.